Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today I'm going to show you how to do a proper winter warmer and a true British classic. I'm going to make beef stew and dumplings. Now I'm doing this for Benjamin Eardley, who requested it. Actually, he didn't really, he requested dumplings, but you know, you can't have dumplings without beef stew, really, you can't. And also a shout out to Patrick Smith, because he wanted one. There you go. So yeah, beef stew, I just love it. And suet dumplings, amazing things. So if you enjoy this video, give it a like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to press the little bell icon so you get notifications, etc. Without further ado, beef stew and dumplings, let's do it. Ingredients for the stew: I've got 1 litre of beef stock made up from a couple of cubes. Or you could use real beef stock, doesn't really matter for this one. Probably get into trouble for saying that. And we've got ½ kilo of shin of beef, 1 medium onion in instalments, a couple of carrots, a couple of sticks of celery, a small handful of parsley, half a pint of beer, and a teaspoon of ground black pepper, and a couple of bay leaves. Shin of beef, this is ideal for this stew because you see this marbling of connective tissue, collagen. With long slow cooking that kind of disappears and turns into unctuousness, it really does. The beer, this is a typical British bitter. I actually made this recipe a couple of weeks ago and I used a pint of porter, which is a very strong dark beer, more like Guinness, and it was frankly horrible. It was really bitter and kind of chocolatey, and might be good for some recipes but really not for this one. But also you don't really want a light beer like a lager, because it tastes of nothing and what's the point? So we want to peel and finely chop the onions and a bit of about half a carrot and half a celery stick. Right, I'm also going to chop half a parsley quite finely. The rest of it will go in the dumplings. I normally cook with flat leaf parsley, but for some reason when I went to the shop they only had curly, and well, this is actually from our garden where we've also got curly parsley but not flat leaf. I don't know why. Right, we'll set these on one side while we prep the meat. If you've got any great lumps of fat or sort of silver skin like this, you want to just tease it off. And then cut the meat into bite-sized chunks. Now, opinion is divided on this next step. Do you coat your chunks of beef in flour? And if you do you season the flour? Or do you just chuck it in? Or do you not coat it? So I'm coating it just in flour. I'm going to season the liquid. But I think doing the flour coating helps the gravy to thicken up. Now, I mentioned earlier that the beef will need a long slow cook. So you've got actually 3 options. One is to do it in a big saucepan, sort of Dutch oven kind of thing, in which case it will need about 3.5 hours. The other is to do it in a slow cooker, crock pot, which will take about 8 hours. Or you can save a ton of energy and do it in 20 minutes in a pressure cooker. So that's what I'm going to do. But first, these need to be fried off. I'm melting some beef dripping on medium heat. You could also use lard, vegetable oil, you know, any kind of fat really, probably not butter. Now we'll add half the meat and we want to get a sort of brown, crispy, crunchy coating on it. I'm doing it in batches because the pan is not massive and you don't want to crowd it. That's looking good, so I'll pop that in the pressure cooker and do the second batch. and then add the beef stock to the meat and bring that to the boil. Second batch is ready, so we'll pop that into the pressure cooker, and we're going to deglaze it using beer. You could use brandy or red wine, but beef and ale is a classic Brit combination. And the point of deglazing is to sort of collect all those burnt crunchy bits and lovely bits of flavour that's stuck to the bottom of the pan. Normally if I'm making a stock I would skim that scum off, but we're not after a clear stock. We want a rich, hearty gravy, so I'm leaving it in. Now we'll add the vegetables. You might have noticed this is your classic French soup or stock base, mirepoix, and these are cut small, so they'll basically disintegrate during the cooking time. Don't forget to add your bay leaves and your ground black pepper. Perfect bay leaf, that. So when that's boiling, slam the lid on and bring it up to pressure. Which reminds me of a really terrible joke. A bloke goes for an audition as the lead singer of a Queen tribute band, and they say, "Can you perform under pressure?" He says, "No, but I could have a good shot at Bohemian Rhapsody." Right, that needs 20 minutes. I hate this timer. Right, I've got the remaining veg, the carrots and celery. I'm just going to cut those into bite-sized chunks or smaller, and then I'll add them to the meat when it's ready. The reason I don't put them in at the start is they'll disintegrate, so this way they will end up being cooked for, well, probably 50 minutes, and they'll still be nice to eat. You can also use things like swede, turnip, parsnip, maybe potato. I'm not putting potato in because we're having dumplings, so that's enough carbs, and we're trying to cut down. Actually, after 20 minutes, the collagen wasn't properly broken down, so I've given it another 10 minutes in the pressure cooker, and now it's almost kind of like jelly. It's lovely. So I'm going to bring that back to the boil and chuck these in. We need to cook the veggies for 20 minutes, and then we'll put the dumplings in for another 30 minutes. So we want 100 grams of self-raising flour, 50 grams of suet. Now I know from experience, when I lived in Spain I couldn't get this stuff, and but what I could get was kidneys with the suet around them, so I used to buy that and cut it really fine, because it's supposed to be in like pellets like this. Failing that, dunno. Teaspoon of salt, and just to give them a bit of extra rise, a teaspoon of baking powder. So just mix all the dry ingredients together. I was going to put that chopped parsley in, but I accidentally put it back in the stew. There's more in the garden, but I can't be bothered. Okay, and then this is actually the recipe that's on the back of the box, apart from the baking powder. Just enough cold water to bring the dough together, and they reckon 7 tablespoons. Were you counting? It's a firm dough. Okay, a smidgen more. So I'm just going to try and divide this into 4 equal dumplings. There we go. Now I want a crunchy top on my dumplings, so I'm going to finish them off. Well, I'm going to cook them in the oven. If you're not bothered about a crunchy top, you can just pop them in to the pan on top of the stew. But yeah, me mum always used to make crunchy top dumplings, and they were fabulous. So if you're going to do the oven method, you want it preheated to 160 degrees Celsius for a fan oven. That's 180 for a conventional one, or gas 4. So I'm just transferring the stew from the pot to an oven-proof casserole. And if you can find your bay leaves, pull them out, because nobody wants to chomp down on a whole bay leaf. Right, quick taste. Perfect. pop your dumplings on top, and I'll stick that in the oven for 30 minutes. Well, this looks magnificent in a slightly rustic sort of way. Ooh, yeah. It's taste test time with Mrs. KeefCooks!
Hey guys. What have we got?
Dumplings.
Yeah.
Stew.
Yeah. What's the stew?
Beef stew.
Oh right. And what have you got in it?
Beef.
No, but it's like. Is this one where you
token
do?
Vegetables.
Is this the one where you do it with bitter?
A bit of
Something.
half pint of Abbott ale.
Ah.
Yeah. Not the one I did last time.
That's more like it. The reason I was asking what's in it was that you did the beef and ale before, didn't you? And we both agreed it was too bitter. I mean, it was full on bitter. Whereas this is just yummy.
Mild.
Oh yeah,
Nom nom nom.
that's the one. Well, this is nice because it's spring, which means I've actually finally got back in the garden. It's a bit cold. What have you done? Oh, slobber chops.
Oh, bloody hell. Clean pinny today.
Ugh. It's a good job there's another one in the cupboard. Oh yeah, so this is nice. Yeah, beef stew is what you want when it's nearly April.
Gotta love the British climate. Wherever it's gone.
So yeah, I definitely like this a lot better than the last one you did. And these dumplings are good.
Yeah, they are.
I think we've got to wave at people and say bye bye.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so they're getting bored, just watching us go, yeah, yeah.
That is brilliant. So, make it. And thanks for watching. And see you next time.